manifesto and be addressing the necessary stakeholders in Nigerian polity on what we have in stock for 2023 by now. But it's important that we deal with this particular issue, which INEC is at the center of it all. Other things can then follow. This conference has been titled "The Willful Prevarication of the Independent National Electoral Commission to Recognize Chief Edozie Njoku as the authentic and lawful national chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA, poses great danger to the 2023 general election." In suit number FHC/BAUCS/10/2020, Chief Edozie Njoku, APGA, and two others were plaintiffs. Counsel for the plaintiffs were C.N. Nwobo, Esquire, and Akinlane Ajibode, Esquire. Dr. Victor Oye, who was a party to that suit, and INEC, that was also a party to that suit, had C.I. Mberi, Esquire, and Anthony Onyeri, Esquire, as their counsel, respectively. The counsel for the applicants and the counsel to Chief Dr. Victor Oye both claimed in their submissions to be representing APGA. In his well-considered ruling on 6th day of April 2022, on the conflicting claims on the legal representation of APGA, the Honorable Justice A.R. Mohammed stated as follows, I quote, "In view of the position of the law as enunciated in the above stated case and the content of the Exhibit CA2, this court have no option but to recognize C.N. Nwobo, Esquire, as counsel and authorized by the fourth applicant, the fourth applicant is APGA, to institute this action in his name. For the avoidance of doubt, C.N. Nwobo is the counsel that represented APGA, that held a lawful and legitimate convention of the party at Okorie in Imo State, on which elected Chief Edozie Njoku as national chairman, and other members of the National Working Committee of the first respondent in this suit. This suit was duly served with a certified true copy to INEC. APGA followed up this with an application to INEC to recognize the duly elected officers of the party accordingly. It is pertinent to state that up till this time, there is no appeal on this ruling instituted in any court anywhere in Nigeria. INEC has turned the other face on the application of APGA for recognition. 2, in the build-up to the Anambra State governorship election on November 6, 2021, a certain Chief Jude Okeke rushed to Benin Kudu in Jigawa State and filed suit number JDU/022/2021, which was obviously between, it was claimed in this suit that the National Convention of APGA held at Okorie elected Chief Edozie Njoku as national chairman, and he himself Jude Okeke as Deputy National Chairman South. The said Jude Okeke further claimed that the National Chairman Chief Edozie Njoku was suspended and the National Executive Committee INEC of the party elected him as the acting National Chairman of the party. All this took place without the knowledge of the National Chairman Chief Edozie Njoku, who was purported to have been suspended. Note also that Dr. Victor Oye was never mentioned anywhere in the suit, not to talk of being referred to as National Chairman or being suspended by Chief Jude Okeke's imaginary faction of APGA. INEC in a jiffy swiftly complied with the judgment of the Jigawa High Court and promptly replaced the name of Professor Chukwuma Soludo with that of Honorable Chukwuma Umoji, being the governorship candidate nominated by the Jude Okeke faction of APGA, in an unprecedented speedy compliance of the judgment of a trial court. In Kano, the Honorable Justice of the Court set aside, in Kano Court of Appeal, the Honorable Justices of the Court set aside the judgment of the Jigawa Court on the grounds that the court lacked territorial jurisdiction to entertain the suit in the first place. Chief Jude Okeke filed an appeal at the Supreme Court without delay. On the 14th day of October 2021, a panel of 5 justices of the Supreme Court, led by Honorable Justice Mary Ukego Peter Odele, JIC, who is now retired, in a judgment which consolidated suits number SC/CV/687/2021 and SC/CV/686/2021, upheld the judgment of the appeal court in Kano that the Jigawa court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the Jude Okeke suit. On the claim that the National Chairman of APGA, Chief Edozie Njoku, was suspended by the party, the Honorable Justice Mary Ukego Odele mistakenly stated, I quote, it needs be stated at this point that the dispute being who should be the acting National Chairman of First Respondent, APGA, and whether the Chairman, Dr. Victor Oye, was validly replaced are within the confines of the internal affairs of the First Respondent, which is not justiciable. There is a plethora of judicial authorities on the point, hence it is surprising that this matter is cropping at this time. The eagle eyes of the Chief Edozie Njoku Council identified a mistake contained in the judgment and applied to the Supreme Court panel on May 6, 2022. The letter addressed to Honorable Justice Mary Ukego Peter Odele, titled Request to correct the misplacement of names in your Lordship's judgment in suit number SC/CV/686/2021, as contained in page 13, paragraph 1. Upon finding the application to the mistake, in accordance with the clear provisions of Order 8, Rule 16 of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which states that the Supreme Court can, or by a letter application, that's a letter application in bracket, review any judgment once given and delivered by itself to correct any clerical mistake or some error arising from any accidental slip or omission, or do vary the judgment or order as to give effect to its meaning or intention in the correction that follow the name of in the correction, the name of Edozie Njoku now replaced that of Dr. Victor Oye as the second respondent. So in the correction, Victor Oye was no longer a respondent in the suit. And the corrected portion of the judgment now reads, it needs to be stated at this point that the dispute being who should be acting national chairman of first respondent, APGA, and whether the chairman, Chief Edozie Njoku, was validly replaced are within the confines of the internal affairs of the first respondent, which is not justiciable. There is a plethora of judicial authorities on the matter, that this matter is cropping up at this time. While it was convenient for INEC to promptly comply with the 14th 2022 judgment of the Supreme Court, which contained a mistake, which Dr. Victor Oye celebrated as having been affirmed the national chairman of APGA by the Appeals Court, INEC complied within 48 hours of its delivery. The same INEC has turned its face away from duly corrected judgment nearing 60 days after the correction. The corrected judgment has been subjected to repeated verification and unwarranted investigation without finding fault, either with the veracity of the correction or its authenticity. It is pertinent to state that for the first time in 18 years, since 2004, there is no APGA leadership dispute pending in any courts in Nigeria. Judgments in suits that are quoted earlier and the Supreme Court one unambiguously affirmed Chief Edozie Njoku as the lawful and authentic national chairman of APGA. Thus, the only national chairman of the party legally qualified to nominate valid candidates to contest the 2020 general election on the platform of the party. INEC must have an ulterior intention to instigate another round of litigations in a political party that has finally found peace after 18 long years of various forms of leadership crisis, some of which were fueled by INEC. INEC should give APGA the liberty and latitude to develop and grow like other political parties. APGA is one of the two oldest surviving political parties in Nigeria, along with the PDP, but has suffered a debilitating stunted growth due to the unprecedented prolonged leadership crisis. Gentlemen of the press, the following can be discerned from this presentation. 1, Dr. Victor Oye has no claim to any lawful national convention of APGA which legitimized his emergence as the national chairman of APGA for his second term in office since 2019. He has been operating illegally, and INEC has been condoning this. 2, the 2019 National Convention of APGA held at Okorie, Imo State, which elected Chief Edozie Njoku as national chairman and other members of the National Working Committee as officers of the party, has been affirmed by the Federal High Court in Abuja as lawful and binding. 3, the candidature of those whose names and particulars have been submitted to INEC by Dr. Victor Oye are not sustainable and cannot stand the test of judicial scrutiny. 3B, Chief Edozie Njoku is the obvious beneficiary of the corrected version of the judgment of the Supreme Court, duly signed by the presiding Honorable Justice Mary Uka-Ego Peter Odele and certified by the Registrar of the Supreme Court. Dr. Victor Oye had enjoyed the recognition of INEC based on the earlier version of the judgment that contained a mistake. It is only fair and appropriate that Chief Edozie Njoku must not be denied similar recognition by the Commission soon after the correction was made by the Appeals Court. 4, INEC is inadvertently or advertently arming other rival political parties with weapons to challenge APGA victories in the 2020 general election on the ground of invalid nomination process. INEC should avoid being accused of aiding and abetting the extinction of APGA, but God will not allow them anywhere. Since the tenure of Professor Chekwa Soludo is secure, having taken the oath of office as the governor of Anambra State on the 17th of March 2022, and therefore protected by the relevant provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and since he is the de facto highest elected leader of APGA, I urge him to intervene at this critical moment to save APGA from imminent peril. He is in the best position to rein in Dr. Victor Oye and bring him and the national chairman, Chief Edozie Njoku, to a round table to harmonize and regularize the nomination of APGA candidates for the 2023 general election. If INEC continues to prevaricate on APGA matter and Governor Chekwa Soludo does not intervene, all APGA candidates will suffer avoidable double jeopardy. In view of the ominous implication to the fate of the 2023 general election, in the event of excluding the authentic APGA from participating in the general election, I enjoin President Muhammadu Buhari, the leadership of the National Assembly, the Federal Ministry of Justice, pro-democracy organizations, political parties, and other well-meaning Nigerians to weigh in this matter and call INEC to order before irreparable damage is done to Nigeria's march to full-blown and respectable democracy in the world. Thank you so very much for your esteemed audience. Recalcitrant for too long, because the issue at stake is as clear as daylight, and that's what I just tried to bring out, so that by your own vantage position, the public will know what is at stake. What is good for the goose is also good for the gander. But should INEC continue, because I have personally suffered INEC somersault. It's contained in my book, APGA and the Igbo Question. We are up to 2009. INEC wrote a letter that I remained the chairman of APGA, national chairman, and went behind to be dealing with Victor Ome, who was never elected a treasurer. This is the first time in the history of this country that a treasurer will transmute to chairman without an election. And no court ever declared him chairman till this day. And INEC played this. INEC suffers from what I call nairatropism. Nairatropism is the tendency to tend towards the naira, like in phototropism, those who did biology. So it's unfortunate that this is the INEC we have. While they are making effort to improve the electoral process, which everybody is applauding, the administrative officers in INEC have not changed one bit. And they are the ones who are going to ruin this. However, if we wait for them for perhaps a couple of days more, not beyond this week, I am sure the national chairman will take the appropriate step, because it's within his purview as the leader of the party at this point in time to take the action. Received it, God will simply forgive him. Because there is no point in cursing such a person. Let God forgive him. I can tell you that when this judgment was first presented, Victor Oye rushed to all the televisions he could afford and then called Chief Edozie Njoku all manner of names. And he proceeded to write petition to every security agency. I'm aware that his petition is lying at the table of the Inspector General of Police and the DG of DSS and others, that Chief Edozie Njoku forged the letter, the judgment of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and that he will be arrested the next day. Of course, they looked into his petition, and found his petition to lack merit. Let me just put it mildly. This judgment was served on INEC, and don't forget INEC is a party to the suit. And INEC, to make assurance doubly sure, sent his legal team to the Supreme Court to get their own copy, their due copy. It did not change, not by any paragraph, any punctuation mark. Fully certified by a registrar of the court. And beyond that, I am sure some of your judicial correspondents have already done their own investigations and written reports on that judgment. Some, I can assure you, have even reached out to the retired justice who signed that judgment. And the court had consent that, yes, it was a correction they did. And by the way, even to the ordinary mind, Chief Oye was never suspended by those, Chief Jude Okeke. They were never together. He went to Jigawa Court to advance the argument that the Chief Dozie Njoku was suspended, and he got what he wanted. It was turned down. So it was actually curious that instead of Chief Dozie Njoku's name, it was now Oye that was being referred to as national chairman that was suspended, whose suspension was not justiciable. And so when this was brought to the justices of the Supreme, there are panel, five of them, 4 are still serving. They did not, their reaction was that injustice was nearly going to be done to an innocent man. And they did not hesitate to correct it. Why would INEC still be waiting? What are they waiting for? So, APGA has already unfortunately been turned to a cash cow. Many people in INEC have become wealthy through APGA. I've been there. 8 years I went there, and I saw this somersault. I didn't have money to give them, but the other side gave them so much money. Some built houses in Abuja from their process. And I can say his attitude can be described at best as ambivalent. He has not given support to the Oye group because he has also sent his own team of lawyers to go and verify the judgment. So he didn't see why he should throw his weight behind them. You can see he never attended even their conventions or their NEC meetings. He has never. At the same time, he has not given a recognition to Chief Dozie Njoku, perhaps waiting for INEC to do the right thing. And but I think, one, his position is secure. No, there's no question about his being affected by the leadership change. And so he is in the best position to say to Oye, well, you have already been chairman for an unlawful period of 3 years, going to your last 1 year. It's about time to now go and enjoy whatever it is you have made all this while. Let APGA have peace. Like I said, in 18 long years, the only period is now when there is no leadership suit or dispute in APGA pending in any court. It is an opportunity that must not be lost. And INEC must not force us to return to court, because each time we go to court, I think they go to the bank smiling.
Thank you. Thank you. I asked my questions.